I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive and almost well. Welcome back. Actually, I'm supposed to say welcome back, Karen, because I have been gone for what seems to be forever. Life has been so stupidly busy. So there are a few events in my life right now I want to talk to you about. First of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room. There is a virus upon us, if you have heard. Things are kind of spiraling out of control a little bit everywhere in the world right now. And because the situation is so new, there isn't really any affirmative information to be had. I'm looking for information in 3 different countries, actually 4. I speak 3 different languages fluently. I speak English, obviously, because I'm here. I speak German because I am German and I was born and grew up in Germany. And I speak Italian because I lived in Italy for 12 years. So I get information from pretty much all over the world. And mostly I get my information from government sites. So from what I'm understanding, this is a fairly bad virus with a higher than normal mortality rate when it compares to a flu bug. But this is only because there's not enough data out there yet. What I am looking at right now, very hopefully, is the data that's coming back from South Korea. South Korea is a democratic country. There's no craziness going on. There's nobody hiding any information. And they're testing like world champions. They're testing asymptomatic. That means they're testing everybody, even when you don't have any symptoms at all, sore throat or whatever not. So you get the test kit, you get tested. If you're positive for the coronavirus, you're positive, even if you're not sick. And then you have this many deaths. Let's say they have like 5,000 people that are positive for coronavirus, not sick, but positive for coronavirus, sick or not sick. And then they have, 50 people that died from the virus so far. So that brings down the mortality rate to 0.1%, which is comparable to the seasonal flu. Okay? This is an information that I'm looking at right now to keep my sanity. Because if I'm looking at what's happening in the States right now, where they have 60 cases confirmed and 10 people dead, you have a 10% mortality, which blows my mind. And I don't think that's accurate because look at what happened in Korea. They're testing everybody, and even people who aren't apparently sick still can be a carrier, still can be positive. So if you are having a virus in you and you're not sick, that means not everybody who gets it ends up in the hospital. Keep that in mind for your sanity. All right. Why am I talking about this? Because I'm supposed to fly to Germany on March 12th, which is next week, Thursday. And I booked that flight right after Christmas when there was no coronavirus in the news. If I had known what I know now, I would have not booked the flight. I was planning to see my family there. And we cannot cancel our trip because there is no travel advisory for Germany yet. So unless there's a travel advisory, you cannot cancel your trip if you have a non-refundable ticket without losing your entire money. You can, with a fee, rebook your flight to a later date, but that may cost you almost as much as buying a new ticket, because for Lufthansa, for example, it's $400 per person per ticket to change the flight. So our flight, let's say it was $1,000 per person, I would have now to pay an extra $400 on top of that. And I would have to pay whatever difference in cost that new ticket would cost. So let's say if the new ticket was $1,500 instead of $1,000, then I would have to pay $900 in addition to the $1,000 I already spent. So I don't know. You do you, but that's something to consider. I'm supposed to fly to Germany with my family next Thursday, and I tried to find as much information as I possibly can about traveling in an area where there is more and more cases happening. So right now the situation looks like we're going to fly to Germany, and I will maybe, if I can, kind of like vlog from there and tell you what the situation looks like there. I'm not going to Italy, don't worry. But in Germany, the situation is getting more dire by the minute, so it may be interesting. Who knows? Those are big plans I have. Maybe I'm just gonna be cowering in the house the whole time and not going anywhere because I'm too afraid. Who knows? Okay, coronavirus. Let's talk about something else too that's dear to my heart. Let's talk about supplies. So now, you know, if you've been here, I talked to you about a emergency kit, a 72-hour emergency kit already in this channel. I'm gonna link that video right here because it may be helpful right now. But in this situation, some governments, the German government and the Canadian government, and I think the American government as well, has suggested you get supplies for 14 days for your family in case you are supposed to not leave your house. Let's say your kid comes home from school, and in the school there was a case of coronavirus, and now they're saying all the families of these children in the school, please stay home for 14 days. Don't go anywhere. Obviously, these are voluntary quarantines. People can still travel if they're assholes, but if they asked you to stay in the house for 2 weeks, it would be good if you had supplies in the house for these 2 weeks. With supplies, I mainly mean food and toiletries. Like, you don't want to have your shampoo running out 3 days into the quarantine. That would be kind of annoying. You don't want not to have toilet paper. So in this case, I suggest you just stock up with things that don't go bad for a little while. We already are supposed to have a 3-day supply for food and water and whatever medication in your house in case of an emergency. This is stocked up to 2 weeks. So I'm talking Chef Boyardee, Kraft dinner. Obviously, if you're buying Kraft dinner, you got to think about, if I cook the noodles, I need water to cook the noodles, things like that. Canned fruit and vegetables, green beans, peas and carrots, fruit puree and pouches that they have. So what you can do is you can go to your grocery store, order it online or whatever, and buy some food that's not going to go bad in the next year, and store it somewhere cool and dark in your house, in a cabinet that you have in a closet somewhere in a basement, or if you have in the garage some spare place in the garage and store it there. We have a basement where we can store things that's quite cool. And keep an eye on the expiration date. If your Chef Boyardee expires at December 2020, either eat it before then or donate it before then, and then replenish your supply as needed. If you buy toilet paper now, don't use everything up. Set aside a little bit for this 2-week supply and then replenish the rest of their stock. So be smart about things. Have soap available. In this specific case, it's important to have soap because soap will kill the lipid layer of the virus. I don't really understand it, but apparently soap and water will break down the protection of the virus and it kills the virus. It's pretty much making it innocuous. So better than any supply of hand sanitizer would be a supply of soap, which should be fairly easy to come by because they sell soap everywhere and soap is cheap. You can buy soap on Amazon. Just make sure you have soap in the house. Bar soap, liquid soap, don't care. Laundry soap, dish soap. Dish soap works too. You can wash your hands with dish soap. It doesn't matter as long as it's soap. That's really important. The mask situation, let's talk about that. I ordered some masks back in January, 3 for my emergency kit and 10 because I knew I needed to travel. So I have just a couple just to fly with them, but I don't plan on wearing them because people get sick with these masks too. You get coughed on with your mask and you touch the mask and then you touch your eye and there goes your protection. So masks, I kind of like only wear them when you really, really have to. Keep them handy maybe, but don't be wearing them all the time. It's kind of counterproductive. Plus, it takes away the stuff that doctors need. What I also suggest is you get a bottle of multivitamins, because if you have only like non-perishable food items that are not as rich in vitamins as fresh fruits and vegetables, maybe supplement with vitamins for these 2 weeks that you don't like get scurvy or something like that. The other thing that I would suggest, if you are not already taking vitamin D, the stuff that you get from sunshine to your eye, I always recommend to everybody, take vitamin D. Take a small amount. Don't take more than 1,000 international units, because vitamin D cannot be, like, it stores in your body. So you take too much, you can cause all kinds of problems. But 1,000 international units a day for most people should be fine, especially in winter when you get no sunlight whatsoever. If you live down in Florida, forget what I just said. I mean, you get enough sunshine as it is. But people in Canada or in Germany where the winters are gloomy and dark, vitamin D, especially in the winter months, fall, winter, and early spring, is actually a good idea. Anecdotal evidence says that it keeps your body more resistant to viruses, to all kinds of things that you can catch. And I swear by it. Because when everybody else gets sick, I don't. And it's not because I don't have any underlying health things, because I take a lot of pills. But flus and colds and stuff, I used to get a lot of those. I don't anymore when I started with the vitamin D. And again, don't overdo it. Just take the bare minimum. When you see a flu bug coming on, I mean, you don't see it flying by, like, you feel your nose is itching or your throat's kind of scratchy, or you kind of feel like, oh, that's what's going on, why am I headachy or something. Take some vitamin C. I usually take 2,000 milligrams of water-soluble vitamin C. They come in pills, in little pouches. You throw it in the water and you mix it up and it tastes like orange lemonade or something. When I feel something coming on, and that kind of gives me a boost. It may be just all psychosomatic that it helps me because I believe in it. Don't go nuts, obviously. Just be careful. Just take 2,000 and see what happens. If you feel good afterwards, vitamin C can irritate your stomach. You don't want to get like stomach acid because of so much vitamin C. There are also vitamin C things that will not aggravate your stomach, so maybe you find something like that. But anecdotal evidence. This is not. There's no research for this, but I'm a big believer before a flight, when you go to crowded spaces, when you go to your doctor's office, take a vitamin C before you go in. My mom thinks, oh yeah, I take hot lemon juice. Like, a lemon has 60 milligrams of vitamin C. That's nothing. That's okay to cover your daily need, but in order to get this boost of combative energy, you need a little bit more than that. So 2,000 is what I usually take. 2,000, maybe sometimes 2,000 in the morning, 2,000 at night, or 2,000 for 2 days in a row or something like that. And then I stop. But my vitamin D, by the way, I use gummies because I know I'm going to take it. Hide them somewhere from your children because they're not candy. You take too much vitamin D, you can have serious problems with your kidneys. In any case, you have any kind of kidney or liver problems, ask your doctor first, because I don't want to. You're saying, Karen said I can. I think the recommended daily dose of vitamin D is 600 international units, not milligram, because that would be too much. 600, I do 1,000 because I can. So you do you, but ask your doctor first. Anyway, that was just a suggestion. I also wanted to introduce you to the newest family member. Yes, I did it. I went ahead and I bought myself a new camera after like 3 years. I got myself the Fuji X100V. It's the newest iteration of the fixed lens camera that Fuji produces. I used to have, my first Fuji was the first X100 that came out 10 years ago, and I bought that camera and I loved it. But this is the camera that I'm going to take with me to Germany. I've had no time to dive into the depth of this camera. I thought I was a photographer, but oh my goodness, there are so many features in this stupid thing. I mean, this is the manual. This is the biggest manual I've ever seen in any of my cameras. I downloaded the PDF so I can read it wherever I want to. But that's a big manual. There's so many features in this camera. So I didn't want to do an unboxing because it's kind of pointless because the boxes are not as nice anymore. I wanted to give you kind of a review of this camera, but I can't because I have no clue about it yet. It's completely different from the other one that I used to have. It has so many features that I need to test run it a little bit, and I thought the best way of doing that is on my trip to Germany next week. And when I come back, I can have a full 2 months with this camera. I can tell you exactly what I love about it, what I don't. This is just such a hodgepodge of information that I just gave you. I'm going to try to cut it that it makes more sense, but this is almost like a verbal diarrhea about all kinds of things. I don't know. I just wanted to film this for so long, and I hope this is going to help me get back into the groove of things. So you may not hear from me again in this format, but maybe I'm going to live stream something from the airport or something like that. I mean, I haven't even tried that yet, but I know it would work. Last thing, wash your hands. And when I say wash your hands, I mean wash your hands for a long time until your skin falls off. Wash your hands when you come back from outside, when you were sitting in your car holding a steering wheel that maybe a teenage son was driving before you. Do disinfect your doorknobs. Like wipe it down your doorknobs when you come first into the house before you go to the bathroom. That's something that you want to maybe disinfect. By the way, let's talk about this for a minute because I keep seeing that on Twitter and it just kills me. I mean, people get with the program. It apparently disinfects and kills the common human coronavirus, okay? And it's been doing that for years. And people buy these bottles and they see, what? How come you know about this coronavirus? This is the dumbest thing ever. The coronavirus is a family of viruses. The common cold is a form of a coronavirus. A flu is a coronavirus. This particular one is also coronavirus, but if you listen to the news, they often call it a novel coronavirus because it is one form of a coronavirus that we have not seen before in humans, okay? And that's why it's so much uncertainty about the outcome of illness and the treatments, and there's no vaccine yet. So this is all a family of viruses, and they're called the coronaviruses because they have little visual crowns around them. Like, it's just the way that they're shaped that the first researchers called them coronavirus. Corona obviously is the Italian and Spanish word for crown. So it's actually a crown virus. And these disinfectants help kill or disable certain coronaviruses. It's not proven to disinfect for this particular one because it's so new. But let's just assume because it is of the family of the coronaviruses, this may help against it. Coronavirus, as far as we know, is transmitted through inhaling droplets from other people or touching a surface where a still alive virus was residing, like a doorknob or a handlebar at the train, and then touching your eye or rubbing your nose or poking in your teeth with that same hand. There's also no conclusive evidence yet as to how long a virus can survive outside a host, the host being you and me. And a virus without a host is usually not viable for very long. They die off in the environment outside. But there is no conclusive evidence. Some people say it's 9 hours, other people say it's 9 days. So you should be better safe than sorry, because smear transmission is a reality. It could be that you have something somewhere and then you touch your hand and you put your hand in your face. And by the way, have you tried not to put your hands in your face? Not possible. Absolutely not possible. The only way of you preventing to put your hands in your face is putting a mask on your face. But I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about like a gorilla mask or something, like, because otherwise you will have your hands in your face. You do this, you do this, you do this, you do this all the time, 28 times an hour. I don't know. It's crazy. So if you can't prevent putting your hands in your face or in your clothes or in your child's face, no more. Handshaking, stop it. Do the namaste kind of thing, or do the fist bump if you have to, or do the shoe bump, like, you know, they're bumping shoes now, or elbow thing, or whatever you want to do, but just don't do the handshake it, and don't hug anybody anymore. No, like kisses. No, don't do it. Even if you're in Italy or in Spain, don't do it. Okay, have I talked about everything now? I think I have. I think I covered everything now. This is like a corner store of information. You can only get that here. You know that, right? Anyway, I thank you very much for your attention. If you're still with me, congratulations, you made it. And I hope to see you again in my next video. Bye.